always, I like our teams on Wednesday nights, their music night. A couple of things we're going to do before the Bible study. We will be in Proverbs chapter 13. I want to introduce Mr. and Mrs. Tim Heck. Where did they go? Where are you? There is Tim and Haley. And well, you got to stand up. You just got to, I'm sorry to embarrass you, but you can do that. Glad you're into the world. We are having a marriage conference in about 3 weeks. You might be needing help. My thought is starting out right away, feeding her. It's going to be 6 or 8 lessons on how to treat your husband better. And you can send her while you stay home and watch TV. But that's a good thing. Also, in the prayer sheet, if you didn't get a chance to read about the Ficinros, they're just a great couple. Just an amazing couple, a great testimony. And so take time to read on them. Native of Nigeria, came to America, spent all of his last 25 years here, surrendered his life to serve God, went back to his home country, and is starting churches. Just some great testimonies there. And then ladies who are, ladies who have the Christian Womanhood magazine, they're in the bookstore. You can pick those up tonight or on Sunday. The sooner the better. Otherwise, Mrs. Young will sell them again. And that's a good thing. Now, before we get to Proverbs 13, I want to mention the video of Xavier and Rebecca Lopez. What a great couple. We support, in fact, he was here a couple of weeks ago, Clarence Moore, Rebecca's daddy, and he was in one of the pictures there. Xavier was interpreting for him. And just a great couple, and they've been down in Bolivia for some time. And just a neat couple. So I hope you'll pray for them. And you know what I noticed? Churches are all the same. Food, goldfish, pirates, dress up. I mean, is there anything in there you saw different than us except there was no white people? I love churches. When we travel, whether I travel in America or internationally, I love it. It's the same. It's just the greatest of people. The best of servants, people who just step out and live for others and love others. It just really is amazing. And that, what you saw, and did you notice the entire side of the building was painted blue? Yep. They've outgrown their building. That is just frames and some blue tarp. And their church is a blue tarp. That's all it is. And I have no idea what the weather's like in Bolivia, but they have a blue tarp for a church. So we are all grateful for our walls, right? Except when the blue tarp gets filled, you lift the tarp up and the people sit outside. We did that with our tent. You can't do that with this dumb building. We're stuck within these walls. But your missions giving matters. People like that are all over the world, and they can't do it. They just cannot do it without us. So, 2 things. One is our missions pledge cards. And we've been passing these out. Any idea when we've printed this, Rachel? I don't know who does the printing. Ms. Williams? We've done about 400. We've passed these out thinking that might be enough. We ran out. So we printed more. And out of those 400, we've had 36 turned in. That's a good start, isn't it? Now, by the end of the month, we really want them all turned in. And the amount of money, do you remember the dollar figure you shared in staff meeting, Mrs. G? You remember the dollar figure you said if everybody gave $1 more? She keeps the statistics for our numbers, our attendance. You know, if everybody in the Sunday morning service, not the children, just the adults and teens, gave $1 a week more than they gave last year, it would add $19,000 to our budget. Dollars matter to our missions budget. That's a huge amount of money. And to be honest, probably everybody in this room spent $1 the last 3 days recklessly. And $1 a week more is just really nothing. We can do that. We can do more than that. But I think our children ought to. Our children, we've always kept our kids involved in missions. We always had a jar for change. We gathered all the change. By the end of the year, that thing would have several $100s of change in it. And we never dipped into it. I have my ashtray in my truck. It's always, I always put all my change in there. And the other day I was at Taco Bell and I had a 20. It was, it's 2 tacos at Taco Bell, $1.49 or something. And I reached in to get the change. I can't do that. I'll break my 20, and then I get more change to put in. And but figure it out. So these cards, let's everybody make a pledge to world missions. We will face God for what we do with our money. Now, our sins are gone. You're not going to face God for sinfulness. But you will face God and be rewarded, or lack thereof, for not using our money in a way. Just think how much we spend on X, fill in the blank, cell phone, whatever, perfume, 17 pairs of socks in the closet, versus what you spend on the eternal souls of men around the world. And so it's between you and God. I can't tell you what you should give, but I think we should all pray and say, God, what would you have me give? And so if anybody needs a card, you got some cards back there, ushers wander around. Would anybody need a card? Everybody needs a card. Prayerfully turn one in. Everybody here's got one, and it's ready to be filled out and turned in by the end of the month. All right, there's more back there. We've all got them together. Okay, there's one there. I think we should have got all these college kids to fill it out before they left for college. But to do that, then one more thing, as the ushers go by, these are two good-looking ushers here tonight. What is this, street people night or something? As long as we've been harassing people, making fun of them, let's just continue the trend. Where ushers going to bring out conference books, mission books. Oh, you got those too? Good. Get rid of the cards. Now, this is our brand new 2016 Reach Them While You Can missions book. It's got information about our missionaries. Main thing, it's got pictures and names of every one of our missionaries. Now, if you want one of these, we sold out Sunday night. You can get one if you got $2 or more. Ray Mejia will give you one for 20. It's all right. We don't give change. So, anybody want to pick up? These guys don't have any change, but anybody want one of these books before we get to the church? At Wall Supply Last. So you dig out your $2. If you want to put it in an envelope and mark missions on it, you're welcome to do that. Get it on your tax deductions or whatever. I don't mind you doing that. I don't think we ought to give the IRS one nickel more than they deserve. I don't think we ought to give them a nickel. If we'd rather than go to jail, you really should. So we'll get a book to you. Somebody help these guys with it. They're making change. Yeah, Brother Matt, help them grab 2 or 3. Let's get this done quick like. And we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 13 tonight while they're finishing that up. Right here, brother. And again, don't forget, if we run out, we'll print more Sunday, or we'll print more for Sunday. But I have these. I get one. I have one in my office. I have one in my home office. My wife has one because we want to go to pray for these missionaries. Great people. If you had a chance to go to the baseball or some famous Hall of Fame, or to have these names and faces in front of you, these are the heroes. These are the heroes. And this is a great, when we get to heaven, these people will be, by the way, these are the ones that top of the devil's hit list. Right. You ought to be praying. Take a look. While we were looking at the pictures, I was praying for Xavier and Rebecca's marriage. Right. You think they're any different than us? Nope. They have burdens like we do. They have pressures like we do. They have miscarriages like we do. They were very near to delivering their second child, lost that child, had to come back to the States, and it's life, and their hearts break, and they're not near grandma and grandpa or anybody, and they have the exact same burdens we do. They have dental problems. I had a crown put on, and my temporary broke in the middle of a meal, and I was trying to think. I'd like to have screamed, but I was at dinner with somebody, and I couldn't, so I just quietly put my tooth in my napkin, and the guy's cleaning my tooth to put the crown on, and it's really sensitive, and he has this air thing. Shh! Is that hurting? No, it feels great! My legs are always like zombie legs. Oh man, the Christian life's great, isn't it? But at least I'm not in the days of taking a shot of whiskey and bite this, whatever, and we're going to pull it out with a pair of channel locks I've gone house with. So we're blessed. I mean, we are really blessed. If you need dental work done, going up the bus pad in between tire changes, they'll pull your teeth. In Proverbs 13 yet? I'm going to give you about 5 things. I knew we'd be short of time, but I want to talk about missions, and we've got the end of the month. Let's think missions. Pray about missions. Pray about our young people. Pray about our Sunday school lessons. Things that bring blessings. Right out of Proverbs 13, things that bring blessings. I want to be blessed. I want God's blessing on my life. And so look here at Proverbs chapter 13 and look down at verse 3. I'm going to skip through some things things that bring blessing. Proverbs 13:3, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. Number one, blessing. Things that keep blessing. Shut up. Oh, you don't like that word? Hold your peace. Things that bring blessing. And you that are rearing children, don't let your kids be know-it-alls. Start to tell your child, or you hear someone trying to instruct your child, and the child says, I know. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. And kids do it. Out of our 4, we had 1 or 2 that did that. Something that's just a personality. It's not wrong. It's just something you beat out of them. And then we have to teach them, because they think, my dad taught me how to do this. Yeah, well, you can hear it one more time, and he may have a different angle on it than I do. So listen, thank him, say yes, sir. If they come to you, and I've done this with our kids, if they come to you and say, do you know how to do this? Say yes, but if you'd like to explain to me how you want it done, I'd be happy to hear. Teach your children how to be receptive of instruction. A lot of them just don't know. They don't know how to be receptive. And that's your job and my job as parents. We're to train up a child in the way he should go. And you see some kids stomp on their feet, teach them to not stomp their feet, however you want to do it. But the big mouth, the arrogant, the know-it-all, the one who knows everything, the one who talks and can't listen, you got to teach him to be still. And honestly, when Josiah went to kindergarten, we were worried Mrs. Beal would have to kick out the pastor's son, because he really did not be quiet very good. And we tried. He got better. Look, this is true, true life stories here. I wouldn't say that if he was here, so don't tell him I said that. But he'll admit it. Anyway, he was a talking machine, and he got that from his mother. But Proverbs 13:3, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. Learn to be still. Now, some of you need to learn to talk. You do need to learn to communicate. And there is that balance of the pendulum from one side to the other. But when it comes to our children and teenagers, be very teachable teenagers. We're going to get to that in a minute. Look at verse 4. Another thing that brings blessing. Verse 4. The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. So diligence brings blessing. Work hard, work steady, work consistent. So number one, blessings come to the person who can keep their mouth shut. And secondly, blessings come to the person who is diligent, right? I don't want you to say shut up, that's an offensive term. But blessings come to the person who can hold their peace. How's that, right? Number one, blessing comes to the person who can hold their peace. And number two, the person who is diligent. Your children are doing homework, and they've got 47 addition problems to do. And they do 3, and they want to take a break. No breaks. Mrs. Rowe, no breaks in your house? That's right. Just stay there until you die. We've been out in the yard working, and I know none of you have ever faced this, but I've worked with a lot of your kids. And we're out in the yard working, and we just get the job going, and one says, I need to go use the restroom. You know my response? No, you don't. Come on. No, you don't. Especially when you see that every time, this is deep spiritual truths you're getting here tonight. If every time a child has to face something difficult, they've got to go to the restroom, they don't. They just flat don't. You say, you're mean. Absolutely. I plan it, I prepare for it, I study and research it. Google ways to be mean. And on my face right there. And my poor battered children underneath it. No, we don't. Diligent. Teach them to start a job, finish a job. How many of you, like me, wish it was easier to start a job and not stop? Now, you want to admit that? I love to stop. How many of you, as soon as you start working, you'd like to go get something to eat or drink? I mean, Taco Bell's calling. I'm preaching for Mike Johnson. He's got a ladies' conference Friday and Saturday, and then I'm preaching all day Sunday this weekend, and Brother Josh is preaching. And I said, we should get a meal with you while I'm there. He said, we can do it Friday night. And so he wanted me to, he said, said, we can go out. And I said, we can go to, if you know Mike Johnson. I said, well, we can go to Taco Bell or Jack or In-N-Out. You pick. He sent a text back immediately. I'd pick my nose first. And I'd get a better meal with more meat in it. Mike Johnson knows about diligence. Don't stop working to go eat. Don't stop working. Finish the job, get it done. That's the pirate talk. Finish the job, then have fun. Those are deep spiritual truths. How to get blessing. Number one, hold your, and then number two, be. Look at verse 6. Verse 6 of Proverbs 13. Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way. Righteousness and uprightness keeps you. It'll keep you. That word keep, like a doorkeeper, a soldier keeping the gates to the city. Righteousness and uprightness. So let's just take the word righteousness. Righteousness puts a fence around you. Righteousness puts a guard on you. When we step over the line into unrighteousness, even in little areas, you know what happens? The guard's gone.
Amen.
And see what happens to me, here I am, and I'm over here in a safe area because my mom and dad, is this not working? We don't need microphones here. There we go. We'll use that one. That one works good. But we've got a world from our Christian school or youth department, our parents, whatever rules that are on us. And we start stepping out into the world around us, and we've had someone keeping us. Remember the word keep doesn't mean keep you in, it means keep you safe. We've had guards, we've had people keeping the wicked one away. And then we see this area that, oh, it's not that big a deal, and we step over here. Now the world doesn't come to an end when you do that. The guard just leaves.
Yeah, right.
You ever see somebody make a tragic fall and you wonder how did it happen? They lost their protection. They lost their protection by stepping over a line here and stepping over a line here. You think, how could somebody have done something that far off? They stepped over a line.
Amen.
And they stepped over a line. And all the sentries were gone. And they're not bad people. Don't look down on people who make a mistake or do wrong. No, don't do that. Understand this room's full of sinners. But understand this, I'm a sinner, but I want the sentries at every post. And righteousness and uprightness will keep me. And so when we get tempted to step over a line, especially when the devil starts reasoning with us, well, it's not a big deal. Be careful, be careful, be careful. So number one, we want to have the blessings. We need to learn to hold our peace. That's not using those other words. And then we need to be diligent. And then we should do what is right. Let's just stick with the word right. Do what's right. Do what's right. Look at verse 21. It goes along the same lines there. Proverbs 13:21. Evil pursueth sinners. They're being chased. But to the righteous, good shall be repaid. Isn't that something? When you and I do right, good is going to be paying us and paying us and paying us. And it may not be right then. Just like doing wrong, maybe the trouble won't come right then. But righteousness, so doing right is such a way to secure blessings. Look at verse 7. We're a little behind, so I'm going to hurry. And then I'm just giving you a list of things right out of this one chapter tonight. Verse 7, there is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches. That verse tells us to give. To give.
Amen.
You want to be blessed? Learn to give. Luke 6:38, give and it shall be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, good measure. This thing of giving, learn to be givers. Teach your children to be givers. And I'll brag on Josiah before he comes back. I won't say anything nice to him when he's around, but we were getting ready to take off to Santa Clara last Monday to drive, or Tuesday to drive up there. And he pulled his wallet out and opened up with, I don't know, $40 or $50 on the counter. And I thought, well, you owe a lot more than that. For 17 years, I tell you, that might be the first payment. But I said, what's that for, buddy? And he said, it's my missions pledge.
Amen.
I'm glad he's learning to give. Because he's leaving. Now, I don't know if that's 1 week or that's 1 year. I didn't know. That's between him and God. But I want us, and all of us ought to learn to give. See, giving, it'll be repaid to us.
Yeah.
Amen.
We will be paid back. So number one, you want to be blessed, you need to learn to hold your. And number two, you need to be diligent. Number three, you need to do what is right. Number four, we need to give. Give. Look at verse 10. Things that will help us. Verse 10. Only by pride cometh contention, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Now this ties into the very first one, but we were getting off a little bit, so we're getting over to this one. With the well-advised is wisdom. So, whatever number we're on here, get advice. Get advice. Proverbs talks so much about advice. But look over, if you would, to verse 14. Verse 14. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. You want to be blessed? Find out. Here I am. You say, where can find out. I meet somebody over there. There's a person with wisdom. And I want to be safe. I want to be delivered. And so I notice that this person has some laws, some rules of life. And I think, you know what? The law of the wise is a fountain of life. So I'm going to go over and grab their laws and make them my laws. This 6 and 60 thing. I was at Anderson College, and I heard Brother Howell say, I don't hug any girls over 6 or under 60. And then years later, I heard him say, he said one day, he said, as I get older, those 60-year-olds are looking better and better. So I changed it to 7 and 70. And I thought, good enough for Brother Hiles. He made it through his ministry pure and faithful, and I'm going to do the same. And I don't hug ladies. I've been caught off guard a few times, and I don't slap them or do my karate stance. But I'm gracious, and no one does it with ill motive. I remember we just started the church, and it was New Year's Eve, and this lady had just gotten saved. And she was a little older than me, not a lot older, but she'd just gotten saved and baptized. She was one of the first ones at church. We were at Pasquale's building, and I'm walking out, and she's coming in the other way around. We kind of met at the door, and it was New Year's Day, or it was the first Sunday after New Year's Day, I forget. And she just saw me and said, "Happy New Year, Pastor!" And she grabbed me. And I kind of froze. And instantly she said, "I did bad, didn't I?" And I said, "No, you didn't. You're fine." And it's because she meant no ill by that. But the law of the wise is a fountain of life. Find wise people. Look, if I was going to learn to, if I was going to learn to tie my shoes, I'm going to find somebody else. Nobody figured out how to tie their shoes on their own. Nobody figured out how to. There's tons of things in life. We learn how to comb your hair, how to brush your teeth. We teach our children everything. And then here I am at 30, 40, 50, and I'm going to start a business, and I think I know enough to do it. Not without advice, I don't. You know, they say 70% of the businesses started fail in the first 12 months. And the next 12 months more fail. You know why? A lot of times they didn't get good advice. And if I'm going to, look, I want advice. I want to start a business. I want to find a guy who made it successful in business. I'm not going to go to a guy who is a community organizer in Chicago. I'm not going to get his advice unless I want to organize communities. I want to find a businessman. If I want to go to business, I want a businessman. And I want, the law of the wise. Young people, listen to your parents. Listen to them. No, they're not perfect, but they've made a lot more mistakes than you, so they do know more. And you might think, man, my parents are always telling me what to do. Yeah, so you won't end up stupid like them. You don't think my wife and I have stumbled and fumbled and messed up? And I really would like my kids to miss some of the rough spots. And there is a reason. Young people that get married, not that anyone here just got married. You ought to get advice. Read books on marriage. My wife and I are regularly reading books on marriage. We're listening to sermons on marriage. And we've been married 35 years, but I'd like to stay married. I don't know it all. And so, it says in verse 10 there, only by pride cometh contention, with the well-advised. So with the well-advised, you get a lot of advice. There's wisdom. Verse 14, the law of the wise, the fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. And here I am. I'm going through life, whether it be marriage or childbearing. Here you are. You've been married for a year, 2, 3, 4, 10, whatever, and you have a baby. Guess what? You've never raised a child. Let me tell you what you know about it. Nothing. You don't. I don't want to offend your little ego, but you don't. Yes, man, these parents always going to tell me how to raise my kid. Well, have you ever done it before? I saw, there's an ad in airline newspaper that over in Las Vegas you could drive those formula cars, drive 200, 300 miles an hour. I don't know how fast they go. And you just pay whatever, they didn't say what the fee is. But they'll run you through the practice things. They sign the death waiver. They want to know what mortuary to call. And they let you run several laps and they get you up to the real high speed. And I thought, that'd be great. But you know what? I wouldn't want to do without instruction. I've never driven 250 miles an hour. I've never driven 100 miles an hour. Don't laugh at me. It's like life. Sign says 65. What's your problem? But Tim Smith's gone faster than that on a motorcycle. I mean, you've probably done 120 on a motorcycle or more, right? Yeah, that's what I thought, because you got no sense whatsoever. Listen. Look down at verse 18. We're talking about how to get blessed here. Listen to people. Get good advice. Proverbs 13:18. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuses instruction, but he that regardeth proof shall be honored. You want to stay poor? You want to have a shameful life? Refuse to listen. Look, read that again. You don't catch this. This is not politically correct Bible. Poverty, I'm in verse 18. Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuses instruction, but he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. All right? Here's two choices. You can regard instruction and listen and pay attention and be honored, or you cannot regard instruction. And what is it there? Poverty and shame. Are we looking at a hard choice? Listen to your teachers. If you're going into some certain field of business, listen to them. You know, one of our young men came to me and he said, I would like to enlist in the military and just wanted your opinion. And I a lot of respect for him that he came and asked me. And I sent him straight to Joe Grimes. He's been a Marine, he's been in the Air Force. He knows something. Norm was overseas, right? I sent him to Norm. I was sending to any one of our military guys. I don't know. You know, what's the best branch, or what's the, I don't know, where's the funnest place to go? We do boot camp. But I didn't have an answer. One of our men came back from the Middle East, having faced a lot of difficulties, and he asked me, he said, how do I handle these things as a Christian? And I was out of my pay grade. I had no clue. I always thought, why do we need chapels? Let's have preachers. Just go to good churches. I'm a preacher. I've got no clue what a man faces, seeing what they see in the military. We need people who know. Let's don't be arrogant. I don't know it all. I send my kids to other people for advice. I go to the dentist for advice. I go to the mechanic for advice. Why shouldn't I go for advice in anything that I'm not already experienced in? Let's get advice. And I don't know if it's our pride or what it is, but it's crazy. Honor comes to those that regard reproof. When someone corrects you, reproof is saying, hey, that's not the way to do it. But poverty and shame shall be to him that refuses instruction. Man, you cannot spend enough time paying attention. Now, young people in school, I know I'm no different than you. School was boring to me until I got into Bible college, and I realized people's marriages are at stake. People's eternal destiny is at stake. If I don't get what they're giving me in class, people will go to hell. They could have gone to heaven. I have to pay attention. And I never slept through a class. I stood up in the back on occasion. I couldn't even imagine. I thought, I've got to get every hour, I've got to get every lesson, I've got to get every truth, because for one, poverty and shame come, but also honor comes. Verse 13, let's look at one more, and we'll stop here. There's a lot more, but Proverbs 13:13. Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed. I don't want to be destroyed. When he says the word, this is what he means. This book right here. The word of God in your hand. Don't ignore it. Don't reject it. Don't push it away. Look at the end of verse 13. But he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. Now look. This should scare you. This should scare me. when I read the Bible, I should be fearful. Anybody finish Ezekiel this week? Some of you? I'm behind. I got about 3 more chapters. Ezekiel's a slow book. But anyways, if you read through your Bible with us, if you're on schedule, you're somewhere right about the end of Ezekiel, early Daniel. But I read through what happened to Israel. I'm fearful for our nation.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, I read where God, the blessing of God is to give them good judges. And the curse of God is when God gives us bad judges. I don't want bad judges. You know what? This next president will be gone in 4 to 8 years. The Supreme Court appointees won't. I want good judges. And so I read the Bible, and it ought to put some fear in us. But the simple statement here about the Word of God, if you don't care about it, if it doesn't matter to you, you'll be destroyed. But if you fear the commandment, you're going to be rewarded. When you read, remember when Josiah he took the throne at 8 years old, and then at 16 he started to cleanse the city of Jerusalem, the nation, of all the abominations of his dad Ammon and his grandpa Manasseh. And while the temple's getting cleaned out, they're opening the church back up, they found the Bible. He was doing all this right without the Bible. He just knew in his heart that church needs to be open. We need to be in there. We need to get worship started. And we need to get rid of these idols. We need to get rid of all this stuff. While they're in there, they find the Bible. They start reading it and they say, well, we need to bring this to the king. So they bring, a guy who finds it, brings it back, that guy brings it back, and finally gets to the king. And he reads it for the king, and you read what happened. He tore his clothes and fell on his face, weeping for fear. And he said, go to the prophet, see if there's any hope. And the prophet said, because I saw how you responded, I'll spare the nation.
Yeah.
He feared the commandment.
Amen.
I spent time today praying for our country, praying for our leaders, thinking if one fearful prayer warrior could bring mercy on our nation, maybe our grandchildren could grow up in a free country. You understand, half of the nation's leaders or more don't want a free country. You understand that, right? They don't want churches. They don't want soul winning. They don't want Christian schools. They don't. The idea of all these gun laws that the politicians, that's because they don't want you to be able to defend yourself.
Right. Amen.
You know, whether you feel like you have a right to defend yourself is totally up to you. You're a free American so far, until little John gets the throne, and or Jane, and and then we're going to have to find a Robin Hood somewhere. But the devil believes in bondage, and Christ brings liberty.
Amen.
And when you want to vote for the mayor, find out who's the most for freedom, find out who's the most for rules.
Right.
Easy. Voting is easy. You want to vote for freedom? You want to vote for bondage? You like bondage? Vote for bondage. Go ahead. It's a great thing to be an American. You can vote away all of our rights, and they can tell you to wear a bicycle helmet when you ride a bike, and tell you can't have a 96-ounce Dr. Pepper with 3 shots of cappuccino in it or whatever. These guys go to Starbucks, give me that thing, and then put in 3 whatever shots in it. And I said, what's the shot? They said, well, that's like more caffeine in coffee than a whole cup of coffee. And I'm thinking, that's a sick thing. I don't even like 1 cup of coffee, let alone all that other stuff. Fear the commandment. Wonderful thing. You want to be blessed? Let's go through them real quick. I didn't keep reviewing. Number 1, if we want to be blessed, we want to hold our peace. Then we want to be diligent. And then we said we're going to do in verse 6, right? And then the next one, with regard to our money, we want to learn to give. And then we want to get good advice. Good advice in verse 10, verse 14, verse 18. Listen, get good advice. Seek out advice. And lastly, we should fear the Word of God. And God says, I will bless you. I want to be blessed. By the way, I go through my Bible. If I die, you take one of my Bibles, look for yellow verses. All the verses I color yellow, those are the promise verses. And some days when I'm having a bad day, I just read all the yellow. And then, yep, going to be just fine. Everything's all right. God is good. Whatever happens in November, God's good. Let's pray. Father, bless us tonight as we go. Thank you for our church. And what a great thing to be saved.